repairs between Junction 7 at Tame and Junction 6 at Watlington. In London, the M4 eastbound, one lane's closed due to a broken down vehicle from Junction 4 at Heathrow to 3 at Hayes. And at Barming in Kent, the A26 Tunbridge Road closed due to an accident from the Pool Pub to Glebe Lane.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website, gbnews.com.
Imagine getting a call to tell you that you've won £50,000 in tax-free cash, our biggest cash prize of the year.
Oh my God.
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
I'm in shock.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it.
For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. You can call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB10 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 31st of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Emily Carver. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good evening. Welcome to the Nigel Farage Christmas special here live from Maidstone. I've got some very special guests tonight. I've got Vixen and Christmas joining me. I have to say this is the most ambitious thing I've ever done on GB News, but aren't they beautifully behaved? We're going to have a great show for you. We're going to talk about reflections on the year. We're going to have a look at the amazing sparkling wines that Kent is now producing. Neil Ruddock will be joining us for Talking Pints, and we've got a fab military band at the end. And I have to say, with these reindeer, it's so far so good. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Good evening, everybody. There are not many things in life that make me nervous, especially broadcasting live on GB News, because I just come on and just be myself. I got to tell you, those two magnificent creatures on live television was without doubt the most terrifying thing I've ever done. But hey, what a spectacular start to the show. This is not our usual hard-hitting political debate. This is a Christmas special. We've got a huge audience here in Maidstone, and we're going to begin with some reflections on the year. For me, 2023 was a big year. I was debanked by Coots, part of the NatWest group, and they thought I'd be too embarrassed to go public about it. Well, they picked on the wrong bloke, didn't they? I then started this year having come fresh out of the jungle, and that was really quite an experience. I'm a celebrity, quite an experience. Pleased I did it, so I started off this year incredibly thin, detoxed in every way. An awful lot has gone wrong since then, I have to tell you. But perhaps for me, the most important part of the year wasn't to do with GB News or politics, believe it or not. It was the birth of my two grandsons, Harrison and Sebastian. And wow, that was a really, really, really special moment. They've got a bit bigger, those pictures, since the summer. But I don't know what it was. But Rishi went for this early election. And I thought, what do I do? Is it really time for me to get back involved in politics? Well, I took the plunge on the 3rd of June, and I did it to the soundtrack of Eminem. Oh dear, I really shouldn't be so understated, should I? I was also really thrilled, for the second year in a row, to get TV News Presenter of the Year from the Trick Awards, something that is voted for by the great British public, not chosen by the industry, because I wouldn't have had a chance with them. And I think the growth of GB News, the fact we're way ahead of the woke Sky News, which has become virtually unwatchable, the patronising BBC, and I think on this channel, I think what you get, if you watch us live, on catch-up, listen to us on the radio, I think what you genuinely get with this channel, you get both sides of the debate. And often it's very passionate, but we don't bar anybody. We don't believe in censorship. We believe we need to hear all these arguments, and we also believe that the audience at home are big enough and ugly enough to make up their own minds. And I think the success of GB News really is a revolution in broadcasting in this country. And you know, we've got nearly 500 people here, and all I did was mention twice on my show I was coming to Maidstone. This is a broadcasting phenomenon, and I honestly believe that GB News has only just begun. I really do. I really do. Now, I can't... Something else happened in politics this year that was quite a big deal. A great deal. The greatest. The best. And it was amazing. I mean, there, you know, a day before a US presidential election, quite what I've got to do with it, I've absolutely no idea, but I get a shout out from the Donald.
He was the big winner of the last election in the UK, and he's a very spectacular man, very highly respected, Nigel Farage.
You know, what an honour it was. What an honour it was to be in Mar-a-Lago in the ballroom on November the 5th, the next day after that, as the results came in. No press, no cameras, just Trump, his family, his friends, his backers, the members of Mar-a-Lago, for what, whether you like him or not, was a truly historic victory that I think will change the world. And he had someone beside him, chap who's incredibly good at business, who I happened to pop over and see in Mar-a-Lago earlier this week. Yes, from Mar-a-Lago to Maidstone, that has been my week. And I've got to tell you, those reindeer were a lot more frightening than Donald Trump or Elon Musk. Of that, there is absolutely no doubt at all. So it's been a pretty remarkable year. They're my reflections. As I say, I've been very, very busy, very much in the public eye, but there's no doubt, you know, when you think about life and what really matters, I think the birth of two grandsons actually is more important than being in Parliament and many other things. And I think perhaps sometimes in the modern world we're also rushed in what we're doing, we lose sense of our priorities. Now, I'm joined tonight here in Maidstone by GB News' own Bev Turner. Bev, welcome to the programme. And Joe Phillips, Paddy Ashdown's former press secretary and a regular on this show. And Joe, I hope local. And a local, absolutely. And I think you'll agree, you know, we don't always see eye to eye on global warming or other issues like that, but you always get a fair say here, don't you?
Absolutely, and we do agree on some things, like PR.
We do. Gosh, you could knock me down with a feather. Joe, what are your reflections on the year?
Well, as you said, Nigel, I mean, it has been a momentous year politically. I don't think any of us can forget the rather tragic sight of Rishi Sunak standing outside Downing Street looking like a seal. You know, and you sort of think, really? A man who can't even think about getting an umbrella and he's calling an election? Why? Well, we know why. He'd had enough. And of course, the astonishing turnaround of Trump in America. You know, he was not looking like he was going to win. And I think if there are winners and losers, one of the biggest losers this year has been Joe Biden, whose distinguished and long career in politics has been tarnished by the way he hung on and hung on.
Well, it's certainly been a long career.
Well, I think he's had moments of distinguished.
I must have missed them. I can't think. And personally?
Personally, the highlight of my year was after the heavy rain at the beginning of the year, which completely drowned my allotment. And I know there are some gardeners here. I decided to make raised beds. And it's absolutely fantastic because you don't have to do it carefully. You just go whash back, and everything grew.
So there you are, gardener's question time. Eat your heart out. We're doing it here on GB News. And Bev, it has been a great year at GB News.
It's been an amazing year at GB News. I think for me, highlights Britain's Newsroom in the mornings, becoming the favourite Britain's news show. Anybody here watch Britain's Newsroom? Thank you.
Bev, that's interesting because I spoke to you
Yeah.
on the first day after you'd done that show, and there was a certain acidity between yourself and Andrew Pearce.
Oh, you noticed. It wasn't a natural pairing. I think my exact phrase to the boss was, you could have put me with anyone and you put me with him. But, you know, I think we've developed a mutual respect. We both work really hard. He has a knowledge set that I don't have. I know things that he doesn't know. So between us, we rub along quite nicely. We're somebody described us as a couple that have stayed together for the kids. And it's like we've stayed together for the programme and for the children. Well, and you have those moments when you do want to kill each other, but you also have moments of great affection. And
it's been a terrific success.
Yeah.
What are your highlights of the year, Bev?
I think politically, watching all the key protagonists who instigated lockdowns and all of the nonsense of that year leaving Number 10, and that was wonderful for me. But obviously they've been replaced by a shower of shame who are worse, it seems.
I wondered what you were going to say there.
I'm a professional
reindeer are one thing, but Bev Turner live, I mean...
so that's
I've already seen the band half undressed.
Yeah, that's been really disappointing. But seeing Reform MPs get into Parliament was remarkable. Wonderful in the audience saying, you know, seeing Trump win in America was... I literally had tears in my eyes the morning that happened, which if you told me 4 or 5 years ago and I felt like that, I would have said that would never happen.
So you were not a Trump supporter?
Not at all. Like everybody else. When, you know, Trump 1.0, I didn't really understand it. I wasn't really thinking. I wasn't really listening. I was listening to what the mainstream media was saying about him. And obviously everything has changed in the last 4 or 5 years. So now I feel completely differently. And I feel like him and his administration, the people he's putting around him, probably are the best hope that the West has of a peaceful 2025, a healthier 2025, a less corrupt 2025. I'll be there at the inauguration. We're there together that weekend. I'm going to be with you.
We're going to be there, absolutely. What struck me, Joe, this week at Mar-a-Lago was, well, number one, it's like the sort of court of Henry VIII.
Yeah.
You know, people queue up to meet him. They were flying in from all over the world. Massa Sun from SoftBank, you know, stood up and said to the press, I'm going to put $100 billion into the US economy. I'm going to create 100,000 jobs. And Trump got to the microphone and rather than saying thank you, said, make it 200 billion.
Yeah.
To which Massa Sun said, he's a very good negotiator, this guy. But there was an all-pervading mood of optimism. And that wasn't just from big investors or big billionaires. It was from bar staff, it was from taxi drivers, a feeling that the US economy is going great guns, that their lives are going to get better. And I contrast that with the pessimism of this Labour government. Can you believe it?
No, and I think the Labour government have been a great disappointment, even to people who voted Labour. You know, many of the problems are of their own making. Some of them aren't. They did inherit a black hole in the economy. We know that, and we know that there were 14 years of lack of investment in lots of things that we all rely on. But, you know, they've made problems of their own through their appalling communications. You know, to suddenly announce the winter fuel payment is going to be cut without any pre-warning and then allow it to run and have 4 months before the budget, from the election to the budget, you know, and the other things that have happened that have been entirely their fault. You know, if somebody is going to give Keir Starmer a Christmas present, it ought to be Alistair Campbell.
Yes, well, I mean, maybe not him, but I was on Question Time with him the other week. Well, he thinks we are. But no, I mean, you're right. Blair had brilliant press operations, but there's one other point, Joe, on this. You work for Paddy Ashdown. Paddy, you know, had distinguished himself in the Royal Marines, in the SBS. He was a real personality.
Absolutely.
Very charming.
Yeah.
The women certainly thought that, you know.
I'm not going to comment on that one.
But he was very charming. He was a big personality. Take the politics out of it. Does Starmer have leadership qualities?
I think, well, you and I were talking in the green room earlier about Clement Attlee, who had absolutely no charisma, you know, was as dull as ditch water, and you can tell your quote to the audience if they don't know it. But I just think... no, Keir Starmer is not a natural communicator.
No.
There doesn't feel any empathy, and there also doesn't seem to be, amongst quite a lot of his cabinet, what I would call a natural political instinct. And I think that is something that Paddy certainly had, you know, by the bucket load.
I think that Attlee was post-war. There was no television, there was no social media, and yes, he used to get on the Northern Line, going home to Hampstead as Prime Minister, and people would say, "You look like Clement Attlee," to which he'd say, "It's funny. A lot of people say that." But we're living in a different age now, Bev, aren't we? I mean, it's unavoidable that you've got to have some sort of personality.
And I think that's what's been so interesting, actually, watching Trump, and particularly talking about the meetings with Elon Musk. And you've said the same things about how so much of the younger generation are not watching linear TV. They're not watching the mainstream media. You know, my teenage daughter's here today. My teenage daughter's just wants to be with Nigel Farage. Like, how did that happen? You've managed to capture the next generation who are going to be 18, 19 at the next election. I mean, it's genius.
In their seats.
I know,
they're going
just
down
thinking
and down and down.
But in terms of communicating with that next generation, and even, you know, my mum spends all her life on Facebook as well. Like, there are alternative media that we have to get through. The political messages get through very clearly there.
Life has changed. Joe, Bev, I'm going to get you back in a few minutes to taste Kentish sparkling wines.
Ooh,
not allowed
marvellous.
to call them champagne, but they may well be better.
Some of them are.
We'll be testing your palate in a moment. We're going to go to a break, and after that, we're going to give out some prizes to some local heroes, and we're also going to try and raise some money for a local dog rescue charity. See you in a couple of minutes.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Bansky's Girl with Balloon is arguably one of the artist's most recognisable images. So when a limited edition print signed by the artist was stolen from Grove Gallery in London, an investigation was launched by the Metropolitan Police's Flying Squad. The work was thankfully retrieved. The desire to own great works of art has once again become evident this week, albeit a little further afield on the continent. Police in Italy have uncovered a criminal network forging artworks by Bansky, Andy Warhol, Pablo Picasso and others. Investigators said that they've seized more than 2,100 fake pieces of art with a potential market value of about £165 million. With me to discuss that case is the Chief Executive of Grove Gallery, James Ryan.
The art world needs to tighten up. It is known as a bit of a Wild West out there because people will try and chance it with these forgeries. You're quite right, there's only one actual original, but even auction houses have been hoodwinked before.
The burglary that you suffered is sub judice, so we have to be careful what we say about it. But it must have been a bit of a shock to you. I mean, was it a broken window, a smashed door?
At 10, 11 o'clock at night, and just hammer straight through, shoulder barging through the door, and then in and out. You know, gone in 60 seconds. I must say, I know.
Obviously, then a targeted attack. The person would have known what he or she was after. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I must say, I know they cop a lot of flack, the police force, but the flying squad got the artwork back within 3 days. They were fantastic. So yeah, I've never heard or seen, other than the Thomas Crown affair type film. You know, I just didn't think it'd be happening to little old me, you know, in Fitzrovia, but it did, and thankfully we got it back.
GB News.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Maidstone. Now, we asked the audience if they wanted to nominate. Did they want to nominate people in the audience who they thought ought to be called out because something special had happened or they'd done something? And we've picked a couple out of the hat. Now, the first one is Nancy Warren. And Nancy, it is your birthday. And that's why you've been chosen. So happy birthday. Nancy did not know this was going to happen. Happy birthday.
I've followed you for 35 years. I love you so much.
Oh, my God. You're our only hope. This country needs you, and we're screwed if you don't succeed. Oh, my God. What the hell have you done, Jackie? Yeah.
Well, at least you know it was a genuine surprise.
Oh, my God.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Nancy. There we are. All right. There we are. Well, there we are. Now, that was, folks, absolute proof that nothing here is... I'm going to go red. That was absolute proof that nothing here is staged, nothing here is pre-rehearsed. That was very, very real. Now, we've got a second person that's been picked out. And this is Sue Hogg. Toville Parish Councillor in Maidstone, keeps the community clean by doing regular litter picks on weekends, replenishes the town's flower pots, fundraises for big community Christmas trees every year. And Sue, this is absolutely amazing. The work that you do for you are a local hero. Tell me, we hear this term, parish councillor. Just how much is involved?
We do it for the community, really. It's something that I joined because I care for the community that I live in.
Yeah, isn't it a shame that more people don't?
Yeah, it is a shame, but, you know, we get together as a community. That's what our Christmas tree's about.
Good.
And
well,
we decorate it for the community.
And how many years have you been doing all this?
Oh, quite a few years now. We started litter picks about 10 years ago. and we've done the Christmas tree about 4 years in a row.
Well, congratulations. Without people like this, there aren't proper communities in our country. Well done, you. Thank you. And wait for it. There we are. Oh, yeah, OK. Thank you very much indeed. OK, now, let's move. We had a go with reindeers. Let's keep this moving and take risk. Last year, at the Christmas special, I highlighted the Birmingham Dogs Home, and they said they were struggling through lack of funds. Big national charities raise lots of money. Sometimes it's very much harder for local charities to raise cash. We did it last year for the Birmingham Dogs Home. Their website crashed that night. So many people were going online to help them. So this time we've chosen a local Kent charity. They're based in Edenbridge and Swanley. They're called Last Chance Rescue. Please welcome up here Jenny Mansfield and Rebecca Barker. No, really. Yeah. Well, I suppose having the name Barker is ideal, really, isn't it, for a dog charity? Now, introduce us, please, to who we've got here.
So this is Daisy.
This is Sandy, and this is Ruby.
And tell us about your work, because I understand that some of this is to do with the practice of puppy farming. Just explain that a little bit to us.
Yeah, so generally there's lots of puppy farms in places like Wales over there, which is where we go to a pound up in Wales every couple of weeks and bring down whatever dogs are waiting. We get a lot of ex-breeding bitches which have come from puppy farms where they've been kept in barns and things like that. They don't get much of a life, they just get bred and bred from. And then when they're no longer useful, they get turfed out and then they end up in pounds and places like that. And if they're lucky, they come somewhere like Last Chance.
Yeah, and I guess lockdown was a problem, wasn't it? Because so many people thought, let's buy a dog. They used to say a dog is not just for Christmas, but lockdown saw an explosion of all of this. So how big is the problem of just unwanted dogs?
So they would normally go out and buy puppies, and when they get to a certain age, they would end up in rescues because when they're in the home, they weren't getting socialised or mixed with other dogs. So when they start misbehaving, they'll end up in rescues. So.
We also found after lockdown, obviously people were adopting dogs through lockdown or going out and buying puppies through lockdown. And then when things started to go back to normal, they were going back to work. And then obviously they couldn't keep the dogs. So then we had a huge influx after.
And do you find it easy to rehouse these dogs?
It depends on the breed. Obviously, bigger dogs are more difficult, especially the ones that we had in during lockdown, because, like Becca said, they had no socialising, no training. So they were coming to us at the time when they were kind of unruly teenagers, really, and quite difficult to rehome. But we get there, all the dogs find a home eventually. So.
Yeah.
Well, look, well done for what you do. And we want to raise money for you. So it'll be up on my screen right now. Last Chance, animalrescue.co.uk. Last Chance, animalrescue.co.uk. And listen, well done for what you do. And a dog is man's best friend. And that link, that relationship that people have with dogs. So thank you for everything. And, you know, it's a funny thing, but for a lot of people, losing dogs or losing horses is one of the most difficult experiences they ever go through. So just today, spare a thought for my parliamentary colleague and my GB News presenter, Lee Anderson, whose 17-year-old dog had to be put down today. And, you know, but it just shows you, actually, the vast majority of people care enormously for their dogs, enormously for their pets of all kind. It's just the irresponsible few. And it leaves these guys having to pick up the pieces. So, Last Chance, thank you very much indeed. Give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. OK. We are, in a moment, after the break, we're going to bring back Bev and Joe. They're going to have a blind tasting of Kent-produced English sparkling wines, and I'm going to find out which of them has the best palate. Back with you in a couple of minutes.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Very little sign of anything white this Christmas. It's going to be mild, it's going to be mostly cloudy, but some brighter spells are likely in places by Christmas Day afternoon. We've got this Atlantic airflow at the moment. A warm front's gone through, left a legacy of cloudy skies across the UK. That cloud low, sitting on the hills of northern and western parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales. Some drizzle here and there, but mostly the persistent rain now is confined to the far northwest of Scotland, where it's going to be a windy start to Christmas. And these are the temperatures first thing Christmas Day, 9 to 12 Celsius. So no cold expected, but there will be some cloud breaks and a brighter day is likely across parts of England and Wales, particularly East Wales into the Midlands, southern England, the cloud breaking to give some sunny spells at times. Thicker cloud expected further north across Northern Ireland, Northern England, much of Scotland, although northeast Scotland once again likely to see the cloud break up as it makes its way over the hills and mountains. And that's why northeastern parts of the UK will be warmest on Christmas Day, similar to Christmas Eve, but a degree or so less mild. And actually for the southern half of the UK, with some decent cloud breaks developing by the afternoon, it's not looking too bad if you're planning a Christmas Day walk. Light winds, feeling pleasant enough, 11 to 13 Celsius, possible 14 to the northeast of Scotland, northeast England. And then into Boxing Day, well, we've got further rain across much of northern and western Scotland, pushing into Northern Ireland, southern Scotland through the course of the day. To the south of that, a lot of cloud remains, but still some cloud breaks to the east and brightening up in the far north of Scotland later on. A similar idea on Friday. Into the weekend, it turns a little colder, but also a little brighter.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent? I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
So, over the last few years, we have seen in Kent, and indeed East and West Sussex, let's talk Kent this evening because that's where we are, we have seen an explosion of wine production. It's got to be said, many of the English sparkling wines are superb. Well, who better to talk to than Joe Phillips? Joe, your farmer was a Kent farmer.
Yes, he was, indeed. My dad was a sheep farmer down on the Romney Marsh, and when he retired, eventually the land was sold, and it was bought up by what is now the Gusbourne Vineyard, which is one of the best award-winning, has absolutely changed. Because there was a time, Nigel, I'm sure you're not familiar with wine particularly, but do you remember the days when you'd go and get an English wine or somebody would give it to you as a Christmas present and you'd think, oh God, and it was up there next to the chutneys and the marmalades and it was revolting and you couldn't even cook with. And it's absolutely transformed. And of course, round here is amazing. I can't remember how many vineyards there are in Kent, but they are all good. Chapel Down, Gusbourne, there's ones at Tenterden.
Yeah, and you've got vineyards and you've got distilleries making all sorts of types of gin. You've got lots of little microbreweries producing beer. You've got cheese. I mean, it's a food revolution going on, isn't there, Bev?
There really is. And I'm very conflicted about global warming because we can grow really great grapes now. Every cloud. It is a food revolution. And I love the fact that we've got these small and medium-sized British businesses because that is what this country is built upon. And so if we can drink and buy and eat more British produce, then fabulous.
Well, let's start with number one, shall we?
Right.
Have you passed it over to Bev for me?
Thank you.
So this is our first English sparkling. Now, unlike you, I know. There we are. Oohs and ahs.
Wow.
Interesting.
Dry. Delicious.
Beautiful bouquet.
Beautiful bouquet.
That's the end of the programme.
Yeah, bye-bye. We're done.
Bring the bottle.
Leave us to it. It tastes almost like a sort of California, sort of Sauvignon, kind of that richness of a... What is it?
It's pretty good, isn't it? Well, what we're going to do, we're going to try all three, and I'm going to ask you which is fairly or unfairly the top rated of the three. So let's move on to number 2.
Right, where are we putting number 1?
You emptied your glass, didn't you, Nigel?
Oh, I didn't. I don't.
Oh, well, it would be rude not to.
Is that for Bev?
That is for Bev.
Can we do this on Britain's Newsroom every morning? Andrew Pearce, if you're watching, this is a fabulous way to start the programme. There we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure 10 a.m. would quite work.
Oh, I could make it work.
But let's have a go at number...
Right.
Are you getting jealous out there in the audience? Good.
OK, a little more minerally, perhaps, I'm thinking on the nose. You have to come up with all sorts of words.
A little bit sharper. Probably be very nice, extremely cold on a very hot day.
Yes.
It's slightly warm.
Just nobody's complaints to the production. It's slightly warm.
I wouldn't say it's warm, but it's just not...
But it's not as cold as it
It's
could
not
be.
super chilled, yeah.
But it's...
a little bit more metallic. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's a little bit more... Yeah, I preferred number 1, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Number 1 felt like sunnier climate.
Okay,
kind of rich.
Fine.
Okay.
We'll drag those back from you, and...
Come on, Bev.
This is...
You can take the girl out of Manchester. It's Christmas, everybody.
Oh, you want to see her on shots.
Okay, number 3. Here we go.
Less of a hit on the nose, do you think?
Yes, but a much finer taste.
It is, a little bit more sophisticated.
I would say this is a finer wine, actually.
I no longer care.
You don't care, do you? Anyone got a bottle of Creed?
So, 1, 2,
I still
or 3.
prefer number 1.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm torn between number... Let me just have a...
I think that has less. I'd say it's younger.
I think this one, for taste.
Okay, so you're opting for number 3?
Yeah.
You're opting for number 1.
Definitely.
Well, according to market price and ratings, I mean, they're all good. But Bev probably is right that the Chapel Down Brute from Tenderton probably is the one that most people would prefer. But hey, it was fun doing it, and thank you very much indeed for taking part. Now, of course, living in the world that we live in, I have to tell you that binge drinking is not encouraged by GB News, and indeed make sure on Christmas Day you don't consume too many calories. Well, there you are. Now,
you're wasting your breath.
we've got time for a quick Barrage the Farage. I know their names. I've no idea what they are about to ask me. Let us begin with Deborah.
Good evening, Nigel.
Good evening.
Thank you for a lovely evening, a great show, and thank you for what you're doing for our country, and may I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And to you.
And my question to you is, I am your Christmas angel standing before you, and I'm going to grant you 3 wishes. I would like you to wish for something from the past that maybe you could have changed, something from the present that you wish for, and something from the future. I would like to know why it's important to you and why it's important to make Britain great again.
Gosh, if we had to go back through history to say what we regret, I think the armistice of 1918 was the biggest mistake of the 20th century. If we'd fought that war for a few more months, there would have been no more World War II. For the present, I want more number 1.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
I've tried it, so I can't comment.
And for the future, well, don't worry, there's always the after party, you know.
Thank you.
And for the future, oh, well, it maybe sounds a little bit ridiculous, but wouldn't it be nice if we had fewer wars going on around the world? Because, goodness me, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we now, and all these questioners are from Kent. Hugh is the next one up.
Nice to meet you.
Good evening.
The Prime Minister's been gifted a variety of nicknames this year. Which one would you say is your favourite, and are there any more for him?
Oh, there's no doubt that my favourite actually was crafted by a man who was born in South Africa, who now has American citizenship, but adored his English nana, and thinks that if the current Prime Minister stays where he is, that it will be the end, culturally, of the mother nation of the entire English-speaking world. Yes, the top prize goes to Elon, and it's 2-tier Kia, no doubt about it in my mind. Thank you very much indeed. And lastly, we have Stephen.
Good evening, Nigel.
Good evening.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
No, just a quick question, really. Hot topic, most people's Christmas days. Is Christmas lunch better served without Brussels?
Well, it's a very good question. I have to say, I rather like Brussels sprouts. And there are parts of Brussels City that are okay, the ancient Flemish bit. But I have to say, leaving the European Union, for me, was a liberation. For Joe, it was a disaster. But the worst of it is, we made this decision over 8 years ago, and we now have a Prime Minister who wants to take us ever back closer to a failing group of economies, and it makes me very, very angry, I can tell you. Yes.
When you had your special birthday,
yes,
you were over the road to my little shop. So I got something for you then, and I wasn't around then.
Yes.
So I'd like to give you a Christmas gift now.
Oh, I say, thank you very much indeed.
Cheers for our next 5 minutes.
Well, thank you very much indeed. And I tell you what, I love ties. I try and wear a different
Nigel,
one.
how many ties have you got?
About 250, 300.
Are you the Imelda Marcus of gentlemen's neckwear?
A lot of them are club ties and things like that, but yeah, I probably am.
Let's have a look.
But
Are they colour organised? Have you got them organised in colour in your wardrobe?
Yeah, when I get back home in an organised state, these all look magnificent.
Oh,
these are going to be great.
Oh,
thank
lovely.
you. I have to say, Stephen, thank you, and thank you for reminding me that I was 60 years old this year. But thank you very much indeed. Joe, Bev, thanks ever so much for joining us this evening. We are going to do Talking Pints in a moment with a man who's lived in Ashford for most of his life, Neil Ruddock, as he was called on the football field, but now a reform character. He's going to tell us all about it in just a moment.
I hope it doesn't rain.
Don't worry about it.
It'll spoil our holiday.
Relax, we're totally covered.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
No snow for the UK this Christmas, but there is across other parts of Europe, particularly across the southeast. Generally fine and sunny for the Canaries on Christmas Day, and across Madeira as well. That will be quite windy here. Plenty of winter sunshine on offer across Iberia, but it will be turning cooler here with the winds coming down from the north. Heavy rain across the Balkans and Italy on Christmas Eve, clearing, but some snow flurries following and some heavy downpours across Greece and Turkey. Sunny skies in Barcelona, but not very warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
After the Hollywood ending that Wrexham Football Club have got, can Chorley FC benefit from a bit of the old celebrity magic dust?
I can't see why not. The guys have been down a few times now, and when they do come down, obviously they're bringing that with them. A little town like Chorley doesn't see much of the charts and big stars, so it's really nice to see them, and we always welcome them when they do come down.
And Mark, give us a flavour of the level of football. I understand you're in the National League North, right? That's 6 rungs down from the top flight. I mean, you're only just down the road from Manchester City, right? But I mean, give us a flavour of the two different worlds between your club and Man City.
Our players are all part-timers. So we've got kind of fitness coaches, we've got teachers, we've got all kinds of players who have full-time jobs alongside playing. Our average crowd is probably a tenth of what you get at Man City, probably even less than that. We get about 1,500 on a home game. The thing is, we know where we are and we understand where we are, and we are a real community club. Tonight, I'm ready now. I'm off to Marine, so off over to Merseyside. Playing the likes of Liverpool and Everton over on Merseyside would be kind of a dream come true. But we know where we are. We would just love to get to the Football League. So teams like Salford, Stockport County were in our division a couple of years ago, all flying now in the Football League. We just want to do the same. We sat down with the board last year and they told us a vision for the future, and that vision most definitely is that we want to be a Football League club. When we went to the Premier League, I know the boys have been saying that they 30 years will be in the Premier League and winning it. Well, let's hope we are, and let's hope I'm still around to see that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and I'm going to take a second to tell you all about my show, Dubes & Co. We start off with the issues of the day. We then bring in both sides of the arguments. We get rid of the disrespect, and then you throw me into the mix. And trust me, I'll tell it exactly how it is. And then, of course, the magic ingredient, you at home. We mix it all together, and what have we got? In my opinion, the best debate show in town. Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's time for Talking Pints. I'm delighted to be joined by Neil Ruddock. Neil, welcome to the programme. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Can I just say, I've been excited all day because it's not every day that you meet the next Prime Minister, is it?
You know, we may well have a Talking Pints guest who makes Donald Trump look like an introvert. One thing we share is I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Yes, I was in the third series, early days, yeah.
Yeah, did you enjoy it?
It was, people think that they don't cheat. It's one of them, because it looks good fun, but I say that they got like 24 hours of footage, so they put it into 40 minutes, so they show the good times. But it is tough. I mean, the jungle rats and the flies are like swallows, and it's... and I don't know if you know, but I love me food.
Oh, isn't the food... It's tough, isn't it?
Oh, it's tough. I lost 18 pounds in 11 days I was there.
You 11? I was in 24 days.
Yeah, but you're famous.
Well, you're infamous.
But no, what it was, Nigel, people liked me, so they wanted me to get out so I could eat. People didn't like you at the time. They wanted you to suffer.
You may
That's
be
what
right. You may be right. Neil, it was Razor Ruddock. It was this larger-than-life figure that was in and around the game of football for a very long time. Quite a lot of clubs, Millwall, On, etc. Nearly 500 appearances. Yeah. And, you were the big, tough...
I am, yeah.
The Hellraiser, the Pied Piper...
Yeah. The biggest, the funniest, it just come on top, the name Razor. Everyone... I think for me, there's three players, Razor, Vinny and Gaza. If you say them names, everyone knows. And, I just turned into Razor, and people were expecting me to be this big drinking, womanising monster.
But you can't.
I got sucked into it, and
But you kind of were for a bit.
It was good fun at the time, Nigel, don't get me wrong. But I did, and in the end, it nearly killed me, with the drinking and the eating. It nearly killed me.
Isn't that one of the problems with professional sport?
Yeah.
From a young age, you want to be a footballer, you want to be a boxer, you want to be a cricketer, whatever it may be, and it dominates your whole life. You give up loads of other stuff to become a professional, to reach, at the top of your game, and suddenly retirement comes at a very early age.
That's the thing, because from 12 really, you taught to be a footballer. You have to be a footballer to be a footballer, if you know what I'm saying. And the discipline is there. And I left school until like 35. Every day I was told, where I've got to be, what I can eat, what I can't drink, and all this. And when you're 35, there was no sort of step back. There was no sort of, help. When football finished, and I turned into an 18-year-old kid. And I thought I couldn't wait to retire at 35 and start drinking and eating what I wanted. And
you went to 30 stone?
I went to 28 and a half stone I got to. 28 and a half stone, so. I've done Harry's Heroes TV show. I was feeling dizzy, and at the time, Nigel, there was a lot of talk about dementia in football, heading the ball.
Yeah.
So I was going dizzy, so I thought, it's dementia. Went to see all the specialists, and it was my heart, and he said, the way you're going, you've got 2 months to live. So, drastically, that just changed my life, and then that to stop my heart, restart my heart. I've got a pacemaker, I've had the gastric sleeve. If it weren't for doing that TV show, because I'd given up on myself, basically. I'd just given up. And without doing that TV show, I wouldn't be here today.
Now, you've written a book about your experience.
Toxic. It's available on all good bookstores. And I forgot to bring one.
I know. I would have
post.
I would have plugged
Happy birthday, you'll get one as well.
And it's all about, and you call it Toxic.
Yeah.
Tackling Razor and finding the real me. Is this the real you?
It is the real me, but back in the day, I used to go out and get drunk just to get drunk, drink anything just to get drunk. Now, I think at a certain age, you understand when I say a certain age.
Oh, I'm older than you.
I know you are. I've Googled you. Don't worry. And now I go out and, and I have a drink. I enjoy a pint of Guinness because I enjoy the taste. But I can have 2 pints, I can go home.
Yeah.
Whereas before, there was no going home, and I've got a beautiful wife, Leah. She was the one who gave me the kick up the backside and got me to see specialists. And, so my life's good. I live in Ashford, moved down here as a kid. I've got Kingsdorf Golf Course on my doorstep. I'm ambassador to Ashford United Football Club. So I've got everything. I've got me golf, I've got me football, and I enjoy a pint every now and then. So my life's good.
No, you've got things sorted out. And you look at the modern game of football. I mean, can you believe the money in it now?
That's good, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you missed it, didn't you?
I was all right.
Yeah.
I was earning more in a week than my brother's earning in a year. But the thing is, footballers now are getting 400 grand a week, 5-year contract. I'd have done 6 months, Nigel, right? I'd had 6 months of that. I'd gone to see the manager and gone, it's not for me anymore. What are they going to do? They're going to give you more money, isn't it? I've had 6 months. I've been millionaire. I thought, I ain't far. I'm giving up, Gaffer. This ain't, we're going to buy an island somewhere.
And how do you assess the game now?
VAR spoiled it for me, Nigel. It's just stop-start. I can't remember the last game I watched for 90 minutes on TV. Something happens, and I'm not a big fan of Arsenal. I'm not the biggest fan of Arsenal.
No.
Is there any Arsenal fans here? Exit.
Yeah, they've gone very quiet.
But so last year, Arsenal were playing, and the VAR went against Arsenal, and I felt sorry for Arsenal. I thought, hold up. This ain't right. But I just think it's ruined the game.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny? Because technology in cricket has removed almost all arguments.
But it's quicker. It's so quick.
And it works.
It's so quick. Rugby is so quick.
Yeah. So why doesn't it work?
Because I think it's still opinions. It's not fact. The only thing that's fact is goal line. Technology is it in the goal, not in the goal. Fact. Penalties, offsides is still like that. But penalties, it's still human error. It's not absolute fact. So it's all still, you can argue over it. I mean, the greatest thing about football was, before VAR, you go in the pub after, so that was offside. No, it weren't, because the referee didn't give it. Do you know what I mean? That was the fun, and that was the excitement of going down the pub when you just beat your mates at football who they supported. You're a Palace fan.
We've been
so you're used to getting beat.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
This season, This season.
I'm a Millwall fan. I understand your pain. Millwall fans?
Yeah.
Oh, we're all in.
What is it? Everyone hates us, we don't care.
I've got to tell you, no one likes us, we don't care.
No one likes us, we don't care. Is it right? We've had an England manager with an English manager, and we've done pretty well.
Yeah.
Over the last decade or so.
But people still moaned.
People did still moan, but if you look at the record and compare it to anything else the previous half a century, it was good. Is it right that we've got a German managing English football?
Well, it depends on the results. And if we get beat, it's that German geezer. If we win, what a lovely German man he is. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about results. Football's all about results. Like politics, it's all about results. So, whoever's in charge, if they get results and they get the right people behind them, then good luck to him. But I think he's got a good chance, because we're not bad, are we?
We're not bad.
There's only a couple of teams better than us.
No, we just need to win something.
Yes.
It is. Final thought. There'll be people watching this show right now, listening on the radio, who know they've got chronic health problems, addictions, Give them a Christmas message of hope.
Go and see the doctor, it costs you nothing. If you're driving your car and your car makes a noise, you take it to the mechanic, pay to get it fixed. If you're not feeling well, go and see the doctor, because men are scared of going to see the doctor. It's bad news and you can't go out Saturday night and watch football. Go and get yourself checked out, it costs nothing.
Neil Ruddock, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much indeed. God bless you.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, I want to wish everybody a very happy Christmas, a very successful New Year. Thank you for your support for me, for this channel, over the course of the last year. And we're going to finish up right now with the UK Forces Veteran Show Band. These guys are absolute legends. Next year, they're going to have a very busy year because it's going to be the 80th anniversary of VE Day. Shamefully, there were many local councils around Britain that did not celebrate properly, commemorate properly the 80th anniversary of D-Day. VE Day, they will. These guys are going to be hugely busy. They are going to play us out to Jingle Bell Rock. Please welcome the UK Forces Veteran Show Band.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Very little sign of anything white this Christmas. It's going to be mild, it's going to be mostly cloudy, but some brighter spells are likely in places by Christmas Day afternoon. We've got this Atlantic airflow at the moment. A warm front's gone through, left a legacy of cloudy skies across the UK. That cloud low, sitting on the hills of northern and western parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales. Some drizzle here and there, but mostly the persistent rain now is confined to the far northwest of Scotland, where it's going to be a windy start to Christmas. And these are the temperatures first thing Christmas Day, 9 to 12 Celsius. So no cold expected, but there will be some cloud breaks and a brighter day is likely across parts of England and Wales, particularly East Wales into the Midlands, southern England, the cloud breaking to give some sunny spells at times. Thicker cloud expected further north across Northern Ireland, Northern England, much of Scotland, although northeast Scotland once again likely to see the cloud break up as it makes its way over the hills and mountains. And that's why northeastern parts of the UK will be warmest on Christmas Day, similar to Christmas Eve, but a degree or so less mild. And actually for the southern half of the UK, with some decent cloud breaks developing by the afternoon, it's not looking too bad if you're planning a Christmas Day walk. Light winds, feeling pleasant enough, 11 to 13 Celsius, possible 14 to the northeast of Scotland, northeast England. And then into Boxing Day, well, we've got further rain across much of northern and western Scotland, pushing into Northern Ireland, southern Scotland through the course of the day. To the south of that, a lot of cloud remains, but still some cloud breaks to the east and brightening up in the far north of Scotland later on. A similar idea on Friday. Into the weekend, it turns a little colder, but also a little brighter.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine getting a call to tell you that you've won £50,000 in tax-free cash, our biggest cash prize of the year.
Oh my God.
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
I'm in shock.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it.
For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. You can call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB10 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18.